Good evening, everyone. At the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph. Glory to God for the gift of the Immaculate. The truth is that I was in the fact that I was here in the presbytery and I was singing this song. And I think we're going to continue singing this song the entire year so that she may triumph in us. Washing the plates. At the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph. In the office, driving to the office. Playing basketball. Yes, all of our lives is to glorify God. And the glory of God is she who has no stain of sin. That everything in her interior and exterior life existed to glorify God. So that everything in her can become magnificat. In the silence, in Bethlehem, Jerusalem, Calvary, in the cenacle in Ephesus, everything in her glorified the Lord. The Gospels also tell us that she carefully kept all things in her heart. All these things and words in her heart. It's where the glory of God begins. A heart that truly has God in her heart. When we have God in our interior life, everything goes well, brothers and sisters. Everything is fine. When we're seeking the will of God amongst the crosses and difficulties and pandemics, we have God. We have everything. She is the wisdom of God. Because she always wanted to carefully keep all these words of the Lord in her heart. And not only guarding and keeping the words, the gestures, the actions. She entered with all of her being in the truth of Christ. And the desire of our hearts is to live with Christ. But truly, brothers and sisters, not by superficial, we want to live with Christ. And so the way of living in this communion of heart, that is from the most profound place in my being, which is my heart, is to live all for the heart of Jesus through the heart of Mary. This is the path so that we may have new hearts. Hearts that want to serve with the virtues that in her replicates the virtues of God. Because with the power of the Holy Spirit and in cooperation with the humanity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And so every word becomes flesh with the power of the Holy Spirit and the maternal mediation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So we want to belong with all of our being totally to her, because with her, in her, through her, we can share the glorious freedom of the children of God, which is life in the Spirit. She is the shrine of God. In her, we discover how to live in relationship with the Holy Spirit. So our personalities redeemed we will discover by living in her and through her and with her and with the purifier of the Holy Spirit and with our path of conversion until the Word may be flesh in us before we become other Christ. This is the will of God. In the first reading of the prophet Isaiah, it was a very difficult moment in the history of Israel. Israel has lost the temple. They didn't have a king. And all the promised life, it looked like a desert destroyed. But the prophet prophesies the prophet. It was something that they imagined with the power of the Holy Spirit. A young woman with a crown and with a woman with beautiful jewels. It's a wedding. It means joy, a new culture, a new civilization. And so after 15 times, brothers and sisters, perhaps we'll understand more because of the pandemic, but the Lord wants to communicate to us the hope of His Word. It's possible to build a new civilization. And it begins with hearts that want to belong and consecrate themselves totally to the Blessed Virgin Mary. She who is the crown of God. She who has the jewels, the gifts of the Holy Spirit in us. And so when we are Marianized, we have the crown, the sanctification, and the jewelry are the gifts of the Holy Spirit, so that every person in your home, in the universities and schools, we can bring a new culture, which is called the gospel, that it may change our way of thinking, our gestures, the way of presenting ourselves to others with mercy, with transparency, with love. This is the new civilization that the Lord wants to build through His Blessed Mother, with the power of the Holy Spirit, with the people of God. At the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph. There's a very important detail. If the Lord wants to bring a triumph, it means that we are in a battle. We are in a battle. And the Lord wants to clothe us with virtue and the protection of God. And the protection of God is called the Immaculate Conception. That Jesus Christ had in His humanity, and Our Lady in her Immaculate Conception. And so entering history without sin by the power of the Holy Spirit in her and with her and through her, Jesus conquered the malignant one. And this is so the people of God may walk. We conclude listening to a very profound words of our Mother Foundress, Mother Adela Galindo, that published yesterday as a letter to the family, Pierced Hearts of Jesus Mary, that explains in a very profound and comprehensive way this path to her victory, and where each one of us wants to participate. Adela says, Saint Louis de Montfort announce to us that as time passed, we may promise that era of Mary, where God will bring a great mission in the church, and through her to the world. The battles of the enemy would be the most intense and strongest, since one would bend and duplicate our efforts instead of having them be stolen for Christ. The enemy knows that as spread about it may be, even though it has influenced so many souls, will have a limit. And this limit of divine power will be dedicated by the maternal action of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The Blessed Virgin Mary. Today we need, Mother Adela says, a great victory of God over humanity. We can say that there's no other way, that the world may return to her values and return to the heart of God. If it's not for a triumph of love and mercy, vision of the Blessed Virgin Mary. This year, brothers and sisters, Mother Adela says, should place herself, like St. Maximilian said, totally available in the hands of the Blessed Virgin Mary to do what she needs of us and to place us in her maternal hands so that we may be her instruments for the salvation and sanctification of all souls. In other words, men and women, that in all of their being, all of their interior and exterior life, at work, in her school, at home, with your friends, and even with your enemies, why not? They have a common question, which is the grace of God, and this grace, and that's a heart consecrated to the Blessed Virgin Mary, that has the sanctifying power of the Holy Spirit, and wants to do everything a Magnificat to the Lord, like her, and with her, and in her. And so we always want to sing at the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph.